What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here. We are back. And as you can see in front of you, we are back in the PWO, formerly WPF. I'm going to put my phone on silent so it doesn't get interrupted here. And we're playing draft again. I know we re-retired and we're back for season 15. And the whole reason I'm playing is because the format seemed pretty fun. We're doing something a little bit different. Sorry, my camera looked a little weird. So we're gonna just jump into it. What this draft is, what's different about it, and it's gonna be a fun format. I'm looking forward to it. So it is a dual type draft. So each type was able to be drafted once per round. 2 rounds of snake draft, so 1 complete cycle. That way, the people at the bottom weren't really forced to take, quote unquote, 2 bad types. Give people at the bottom a chance. And yeah, each team must draft at least 5 Pokemon of each type. So you're stuck. You have to draft 6 of one, 5 of another. That way, if you're like Dragon and you got like stuck with like Bug for your second type, you couldn't just load up with like 9 Dragons. That way, it just helps keep the teams a little balanced. Megas are based off of what type they evolve into, like Megazord X would be considered a dragon, not a flying type. And that comes into play for our team. So, I'm not going to go too much into it, but basically, we got the first pick of the snake draft, which is awesome, because it means we got to pick whatever type we wanted in the first round, but it also meant that we had to wait and see what type we got for our second pick, which is nerve-wracking because you can't really make much of a plan. I feel like the bottom of the wheel is perfect because that way you get to pick your bad type, first, and you got to know what you were pairing with it. But we got the first pick and we took Fairy. Obviously, it's the best type in the game. Why would you not take Fairy? And for our last pick, somehow Ground fell back to us. So we are Fairy Ground. Ground is the perfect type to pair with Fairy. It hits all 3 types that resist Fairy for super effective stab in Steel, Poison, and Fire. So yeah, let's get right into the team. We were literally right in the middle. It's a 14-team league. We were right in the middle. We had the 7th pick. Now the original idea for the team was Coco Valiant with Iron Treads, but Coco didn't fall to us, which is fine, which is understandable. Kronos had Electric, and he took Tapu Koko, and he picked before us. So, for our first pick, we took Iron Valiant, sorry. Iron Valiant, obviously, fighting Fairy, super busted type, and he has, Iron Valiant has great move pool, great stabs, very strong on physical and special side, so some weeks we might run it physical, some weeks we might run it special. It's very fast. Booster energy obviously will give us speed boost, attack boost, special attack boost, whatever boost we want. Typically, I think we'll probably run it speed just to that way we don't have to worry about scarf users or anything like that. But I'm really, really excited. The first time I used Iron Valiant, I didn't really use it that well, and I think I was just not into playing at the time. Terra rules. There is no Terra, which is another reason I decided to play. If you know me, you know I hate Terra. So, but anyway, like I said, Iron Valiant, love it. It's a great Pokemon. Like I said, it does a lot of things, can do a lot of things super well. When Coco got taken, my backup plan was going to be Tapu Lele. I really wanted 2 Tier 1 Fairies because I think after you get past the top tiers, Fairy does kind of fall off a little bit. You get into like Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 Fairies. There's not really a lot of value there, I don't think. So I really, really wanted 2 Tier 1 Fairies, but it just didn't shake out that way, unfortunately. So instead of another Fairy, we went with Garchomp. Garchomp is a super strong Pokemon. Great Pokemon. Dragon Ground. Can run this thing a lot of different ways too. Very, very, It's very, very flexible. Can use it, can run Bulky Chomp, can run offensive, like a Scale Shot Swords Dance. You can run Scarf. I love the Scarf set personally. Back whenever I've used it, I've had a lot of success with the Scarf set. And yeah, but like I said, bulky Stealth Rock user gets spikes. It's just a really, really, really good Pokemon. In a format like this, where not everyone's going to have a way to hit it with Ice type moves, or even Dragon type moves, it's just a really, really good Pokemon. And I feel like it's going to have a lot of utility. I'm really looking forward to using it. So next up was another Pokemon. I took it because I wasn't 100% sure if it would fall back to me because of, Steel and Ground, or two common types people are going to want to cover. If they don't have those types, they're going to want to cover those types. So next up, we took Iron Treads. I know that the original plan was for Valiant Cocoa Treads, just so I don't have to use Booster Energy. But Iron Treads, really, really good Pokemon. Great typing in Steel Ground. Fast, very, very hard, very, very, very hard hitting physically. Gets a lot of utility, gets Rapid Spin. Also against these terrain users, it gets Steel Roller, which I can get rid of my opponent's terrain, which is really, really nice if I need to. Another stealth. Again, look, I'm ground. I'm gonna have a lot of options for Stealth Rocks, but another Stealth Rock user. Like I said, Stealth Rock user, Rapid Spinner, gets knockoff. And yeah, this thing's really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to using it. I've never used Iron Treads before, and yeah, really looking forward to it. We're gonna have fun using this guy. And next up is another Pokemon I really, really like and I've never used before, and that is Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl. I love Grimmsnarl. I think it's a great Pokemon. Dark Fairy is really, really interesting typing, and I didn't want the fairies to start getting away from me in this draft, because I didn't. two picks in a row I went ground. But and people were starting to scoop up their fairies, because like I said, you could pick with like secondary typing. People were secondary typing, picking fairies, and the dark type drafters were kind of circling this guy a little bit. Someone mentioned him in the chat, which you always love to see that whenever you're waiting on your next pick and someone mentions the mon you're gonna pick next. That's always gets your heart beating a little bit. But Grimmsnarl Prankster is a great ability, and if not everyone has a dark type, being able to just spam stuff like Thunderwave. Obviously screens are great. Prankster Parting Shot is really, really good. This thing can just be a menace. And Prankster Bulk Up, if you want to run an offensive set, Prankster Bulk Up's really, really good. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to using this guy. I've never used him in draft before. I've used him in VGC. I've never used him in draft. And yeah, really looking forward to using this guy. And so next, I really, really wanted to wait to pick my Mega, but I knew the one I wanted. I had my points and everything all planned out. I had my draft pretty well planned out. And I needed this tier 2 Mega, because like all the other Megas, either the low tier Megas that I could take, Mega Camerupt, which is just bad, and Mega Audino, which again, just bad. I mean, the bulky Wish Pass would have been nice, but I couldn't afford to go up based on the team I had. And so neither of the Dragon type users had taken their Megas yet. And so I was like, a Dragon Fairy could be really good utility for the Dragon type users, a Dragon that's immune to Dragon. So I went ahead and I picked it earlier than I wanted to, and that is Mega Altaria. I'm really looking forward to using this guy. I know Shane loves regular Altaria, and I'm really looking forward to it. Pixelate for ability is really, really good. It can run this thing physical, can run it special, can run it bulky, can run it, as a support mon. Thing just has a lot of utility, and I'm really looking forward to using it. Obviously, get Stab Hyper Voice off of Pixelate, and you can run a Dragon Dance, set up Dragon Dance set. You can run like a Cotton Guard, Roost, just bulky, never want to die set. And in a league like we have, where you don't have to Mega right away, I can keep it as a Dragon Flying type if I really want to, which is really, really nice. It's just itemless. So it gets things like Cloud9 for the weather teams. It gets, I think, it's Natural Cure. So like if I get Will-O-Wisp, if I try to set up a Dragon Dance and get Will-O-Wisp, switch it out and cure it before I Mega, which is really, really nice. So this thing has a lot of utility. Great move pool. Defog, which I need. I don't like how my team has such low removal, but we'll get into that. I do address that a little bit later. And so next, I I wanted a Pokemon. I wanted to get back to my ground types. And I really wanted this guy because I never used him before. And I kind of felt like it might go soon from might get taken. And that is Piloswine. And I did kind of snipe. I cannot remember who has ice. Anyway, I think it might be Howl. I think Howl has ice. I don't remember. I think he's ice poison. Anyway, doesn't matter. So he wasn't very happy whenever he saw I took Piloswine, but I really wanted this guy. It's a former fully evolved Mon, so it's got pretty good stats for an NFE, and obviously Eviolite Piloswine just eats hits for days, even super effective one. Another bulky Stealth Rock user. And you can run this thing Choice Band too. This thing hits pretty hard. It has base 100 attack. Because like I said, it's a former fully evolved Pokemon that got an evolution later. Those are always pretty strong. And yeah, Piloswine. Looking forward to using this guy. Gives me an Ice type, which Ice types are good. Very spammable offensive type. And I need to look here. Next up is a Pokemon. One of the few Pokemon on this team that I have used before. And I really loved it, and that is Palisand. Palisand makes his return, and I actually did snipe Scary Terry with this one because he's the other ground type drafter. He was really wanting Palisand next, but I knew I had to take him. Palisand is a Pokemon, like I said, I've used before, loved it. It gives me a spin blocker as a ghost type, and it gives me another bulky option. It gets recovery in Shore Up. It gets spammable, like a ghost. Is very spammable in this kind of format because, like I said, in this type of a format where you only have 2 types to draft as, you're not going to be able to fill every hole that your team has. Like, you're not going to be able to, hit everything with super effective stab like you probably typically would in a normal draft. You tend to try to draft one of every type, cover all your types. But excuse me. But yeah, next up is a Pokemon I waited on. I knew there was 3. There are 3 water, ground, water absorbers, and I knew I wanted to grab one of them. Scary Terry grabbed. I think it was Terry. Scary Terry grabbed Gastrodon, which is the one I was planning on getting, and I knew Caden, shout outs to Caden. He's a friend. Congratulations on getting engaged, buddy. He had mentioned earlier in the draft to me that he was looking at Quagsire, so I didn't want to be a dick, and so we took Seismitoad. I've used Seismitoad in the past, enjoyed it. Can be used physical or special. One thing I do like about Seismitoad as opposed to the other water absorb ground types is that it gives me a Swift Swim option whenever I'm playing against the rain team, because there is a rain team, and it gives me that option if I really want to run Swift Swim Seismitoad against the rain team, maybe make them regret bringing the rain against me. But I can also bring the water absorb to make it so I just eat up their water attack. Water type attack. Besides that, it's good. It can be run physical or special. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I feel like immunities in this type of a format are really, really good. So, I mean, obviously, Fairy has a built-in immunity to Dragon, and Ground has a built-in immunity to Electric. If you see some Mons I draft, a lot of them kind of try to have immunities, like Steel's immune to poison, Palisand immune to fighting, immune to normal, and now Seismitoad gives me a water immunity as well, which is really nice. Yeah, and again, my team is ground type, so half of my Mons are ground type. So being able to have a Mon that is immune to something that typically hits ground for super effective is really, really, really nice. And then next is a Mon that I'm really glad I was able to wait this long to get, and it's another one I'm really excited to use for the first time, and that is Nidoqueen. I had my choice of the Nidos, and I felt like Nidoqueen fit this team better than Nidoking, and I had as another backup and I wanted a grounded poison type. Yeah, obviously my team is Fairy, so I'm going to be seeing if a player has a lot of has a poison option on their team. They're probably going to bring it because half my team is Fairy. I wanted to bring a grounded poison type, so I could soak up T-Spikes if I needed to. And Nidoqueen, Sheer Force Life Orb hits like a truck with its great move pool. And yeah, gives me a T-Spike setter, which could definitely come into play at some point in this game. Because like I said, not every team is going to have a grounded poison. And yeah, that was something that we really looked at. And as the other reason I waited so long on this Pokemon, in particular, is again, Nidoking didn't get taken, and there was also Clodsire in the same tier, which is also a ground poison type, and that was also my worst case scenario, Water Absorb. I really wanted one of the Nidos, and I felt like Nidoqueen, like I said, I felt like Nidoqueen fit the team best, and yeah, I'm glad I got her, and so I'm really looking forward to using her. And so with that, I have 6 ground types. I know you're like, oh, Big L, you've got the best type in the game. You have to do 6-5. You did 6 ground. With the speed tiers and stuff, this is just how it worked out. I needed the speed tiers to kind of even out. Like I said, the original plan, I had Lele, not Garchomp. And so the speed tiers, I kind of had to fill some gaps there. But we made it work, I think. And so next, I went back and forth on this pick for a little while. And for the longest time, I planned on this pick being Primarina. But the more I thought about it, whenever I got more into it, I was like, you know what? I already have a water type. I'm already doubling up on Dragon with Garchomp and Altaria. Maybe I should take an actual flying type. And so I saw Togekiss sitting there. And like I said, I've used Togekiss in the past. I really enjoy it. This thing can be a problem. It can be a support Pokemon. It can be a Scarf, Flinch Hacks with Serene Grace, Air Slash. It can Nasty Plot and really get going. And it's another defog option. Again, like I said, my hazard removal option aren't really the best. An option I thought of for the team at one point was Keys for Prankster Defog, but I just didn't really see it. Like I said, I didn't care for many of the lower tier fairies. That's another reason why I went with 6 ground types. I feel like ground type on the lower tiers, you get stuff like Palisand, Piloswine, Seismitoad. Like I said, Seismitoad is a tier 3B, so it's cheap. Palisand is my tier 5. Piloswine is tier 4. So I feel like ground on the lower end had a lot more utility than fairy. But like I said, I'm excited to use Togekiss again. I've used it well in the past. Really enjoy it. And then, so for the last Pokemon, I was just throwing darts at a board here. I needed a speed. At this point in the draft, I had a big speed gap between Garchomp and Mega Altaria, 102 to 80, and I was like, I gotta find something in there. And so I felt like that was more important than getting webs. So, because I had enough, because I had to have a tier 4 here, and we went with Doxbun. It's Doxbun. I mean, it gives me a fire immunity with well-baked body, which is really nice. Like I said, immunities in this kind of a format are really good. It is bulky. It's fast. It's base 95 speed. It gives me that speed tier in between, like I said, I really wanted in between 102 and 80. I know I'd like to be somewhere more in the middle. Originally, this draft plan had Crook in there, which is 92, which was perfect, which was right in the middle there. Would have been perfect, and I love Crocodile. Crocodile is one of my all-time favorite draft Pokemon, but it just didn't quite fit. I went with Grimmsnarl instead as my dark type, and I'm excited to use Grimmsnarl. I think Grimmsnarl is going to be fantastic. So we went with Doxbun. Doxbun, can pass a weak Wish. I think it's only like base 57 HP, but it's got Wish Pass. It's got Wish and Baton Pass. Another thing with this team that I'm not crazy about, which let me go to, this is the whole squad. Another thing I'm not real crazy about with this team is I don't have a lot of pivoting options. I've got Grimmsnarl gets Parting Shot and U-Turn. Wait, does it get U-Turn? I know it gets Parting Shot. I don't know if it gets U-Turn or not. No, I think Incineroar is the only Pokemon that gets both. But we get Parting Shot with Grimmsnarl, Doxbun, Togekiss, and I think Altaria all get Baton Pass, and that's it. That's it for pivoting, which is really unfortunate. We don't have the most in terms of priority either. Like I know Iron Valiant gets Shadow Sneak. I think it gets Sucker Punch too. I know Grimmsnarl gets Sucker Punch. Piloswine gets Ice Shard, which is really good. I think Seismitoad might get Sucker Punch? Question mark? I don't know, maybe. Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, but like I said, in this kind of a format, you're not going to be able to cover everything. And that's just how it is. That's part of the draft. I mean, there are web, if you know me, you know I love my sticky webs. And there are web options still available. Like, I think Slurpuff didn't get drafted, which is a fairy-type web setter. Rabombi didn't get drafted, which is also a fairy-type web setter. It's one of the better web setters, too. It's something we actually looked at. But I didn't feel like I needed the high-end speed of Rabombi. So, but yeah, that's the squad. I will probably be uploading. I'll be uploading the season, and I may do something that Joey does, which is post-game interviews. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I think people might like doing that. I'm not gonna do live comm because look, I take my time early on showdown draft leagues just because I want to calc. I want to know what sets my opponents are running. I wouldn't want to watch my live comm draft content. So if I wouldn't want to watch it, I'm not going to make it. So I'll probably be doing interviews after my game, and then you'll still probably get post-comm games. I'll throw the interview at the end. So hopefully I can do that. I mean, if people don't want to do it, if I'm getting ready to play somebody and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do this, then obviously I'm not going to do it. But it's an idea I have, and I'm looking forward to trying it. But yeah, this is the squad. Let me know what you think in the comments. Ad drops that you think I could maybe pull off. Like I said, there are some mons that aren't available. And remember, I have to have 6 ground 5 fairies, so you can't say, oh, drop Grimmsnarl and pick up Crypts. I can't do that. I have to have 5 fairies. But yeah, let me know what you think about the team in the comments, and let me know if you're excited for the season, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.